All right, I am joined by Ann Michels from the Microsoft Teams product marketing team, correct?
That's correct.
Awesome.
Great to be on the show here with you.
Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. You had a great general session yesterday. There was lots of, I was expecting a few, but there was like an avalanche of information yesterday. We heard from several people. A lot of stuff is live now, but there are a lot of things coming up soon. I'd like to start out, if you can give us a little more information about this new concept of Teams templates.
Yeah, don't you love Microsoft Teams? Like one new feature after the other. I mean, as you all know, we roll out features on a weekly basis almost. So, I mean, our engineering team has just been working really, really hard, and especially for Ignite. And we had a lot of great announcements, especially in the IT Pro area, because we really want to make sure that everybody out there, every IT admin, is able to manage Microsoft Teams in an effortless way. And so when we think about team membership, kind of like team creation, right? Kind of like that is actually something that a lot of customers have given us feedback on, because what we see in organizations very often is that once you know kind of what setup works best for a team, right, then you want to recreate that. You want to pass on that knowledge, those best practices to other new teams that are being created in your organization. And so to help with that, you can now actually use team templates very soon directly from Graph Explorer, because this leverages a new REST endpoint that is part of the Microsoft Graph API. And in those team templates, you can then specify properties for a team, including the team name, including which channels that team should have, and also the settings for a specific team.
Perfect. I mean, it is a very common ask. It's so good to hear that it's coming. Being able to template a team and build from there, especially in a huge organization, is a big deal.
Exactly. And even better, let me just add one more thing. Yeah. Even better is that what we're also working on is that in the future, every end user will be able to create, share, and export a team directly from a team template that we'll be introducing in the Microsoft Teams app, actually. So it won't just be restricted to Graph Explorer and to IT admins who know how to actually script or write code, but we want to make that actually able to end users as well.
Beyond the IT Pro, it makes it a little easier for those that might be intimidated with the Graph interface. So perfect. Let's talk a little bit about managing teams within the ever-evolving and constantly updating new teams in Skype Admin Center. A lot of new stuff has come in there recently. Managing teams is one of those items.
Exactly. So the Microsoft Teams Admin Center, or the Microsoft Teams and Skype for Business Admin Center, is still a fairly new admin center. So our engineering team has been adding new capabilities really on a regular basis. And one new capability is that we have now a new section in the team management section where you can see a list of all the teams in your organization. So you can see how many teams you have in your organization, but you can also see details for each of these teams, which includes members, settings, and also the channels in that team. And that is especially helpful for IT. Let's just say somebody leaves the organization and they were actually an owner of a team, right? It happens all the time. And then you have a problem, nobody can add, right? What do you do? And in the admin center, you can now easily promote somebody from member to owner of a team in that scenario.
That's awesome. It sounds like it's a very full-featured experience for managing teams at a high level. Let's jump from there and talk a little bit about something else having to do with the admin center, would be the admin roles. Can you tell us a little bit about which roles are available and how those are managed?
Yeah, so this is the announcement that I was most excited about, because I know many of you have been waiting for that. Because in the past, when you actually wanted somebody to manage Microsoft Teams in your organization, what you had to do, you had to give them global admin rights. And that, of course, was a problem for many of you, understandably. So I'm very happy to share that now we introduced new Teams-focused admin roles that are available now, today, like literally yesterday they were available for all of you to assign to users or to actually make them an admin that should be managing Microsoft Teams in your organization. And those are available in the Azure AD Admin Center. We're working on enabling them in the Office 365 Admin Center as well at some point, so that'll come, but right now you can manage that in AD.
Okay, Azure AD, that makes sense. And yes, that is a frequently asked item by customers, so very glad to hear about that. Let's talk a little bit about things on the security front. DLP was something you talked about yesterday. Tell us a little bit about how organizations can leverage DLP with Teams.
Correct. Data loss prevention, how we call it, right? The long name, but you're all familiar with DLP. And DLP is in Office 365 a very important feature, a very important capability, because it allows you to make sure that information doesn't get into the wrong hands. It allows you to actually protect sensitive information from leaking outside of your company or from being shared. And we announced yesterday that Microsoft Teams will soon be supporting DLP for chat and channel messages. So when you create a DLP policy in the Security and Compliance Admin Center, you will be able to choose Teams chat and channel messages as another location that DLP policy applies to. And then when somebody shares sensitive information over chat or in a channel, then after a few minutes, our DLP policy will kick in, and then that message will actually get blocked and be removed both from chat as well as from storage.
That's perfect. And personally, I've had a good handful of customers in the last few weeks want more in that area, and this is exactly what they're looking for. So really glad to hear about that. Let's finish up by talking a little bit about something that is also going to be a huge help to IT pros, and that is dynamic group membership. Tell us how that works.
So dynamic group membership helps you to actually manage team membership more easily. So we announced yesterday that Teams will soon be supporting the creation of teams that are based on dynamic Office 365 groups. As you all know, whenever you create a team in Microsoft Teams, that creates an Office 365 group in the background, because that's how we manage membership, right? And soon we'll be supporting the creation of teams from dynamic groups. That means that for those groups, membership is managed dynamically based on the user's AD attribute. So for example, I can specify a rule that whose ever department information, for example, in AD is set to Seattle, then they will be part of that specific group, and that then will also make them part of the team that was created on top of that group.
Awesome. So someone leaves that department or moves off, then the administrator doesn't have to worry about updating that team.
Exactly, because HR very often actually manages that information from an AD perspective.
Excellent. Great session again yesterday. Loved all the news. Can't wait to see the rest of the stuff come out that is still coming soon. And thank you again so much for joining me today, Anne.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.